The Congresswoman is slanderous. She has nothing but the unsubstantiated opinions, and I will not stand for that. There is nothing corrupt. We move at the highest levels, and just because she cannot get the answer she wants, if she would like to give me facts, she seems long on facts, short on facts, long on hot air, and I will not stand for that. Yeah, that's great.
Mr. Arrington is recognized.
Disgrace to make a remark like that.
That is Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary of the Trump administration, and he just completely crumbled before Congress. The woman who just grilled him on the hot seat is none other than Congresswoman Linda Sánchez. She didn't come to this hearing to ask polite questions or play standard political games. Representative Sanchez brought ironclad legal receipts directly confront Bessent over a shocking backdoor deal. Why was President Donald Trump and his entire family granted complete audit immunity? Why would the head of the agency holding America's purse strings act like a cornered animal when asked about this privilege, while millions of Americans are forced to follow the law and pay every dime of their taxes under the crushing weight of inflation? Watch how ultimate power gets unmasked by Representative Linda Sánchez using the law itself. Don't forget to hit subscribe, because what you're about to see is a masterclass in how to obliterate the weasel words of the elite.
I hope that you're proud of your performance today, Mr. Secretary, because
I hope you get some social media
it's pretty
clips.
safe to say that this is probably the most corrupt Treasury Department in our nation's history. And while you dance around questions to protect Trump, Americans are suffering in Trump's spiraling economy. Mr. Secretary, do you believe that all Americans should follow our tax laws?
Yes, Congressman.
Yes, good. So do I. And do you believe that for those Americans who break our tax laws, they should be audited or held accountable?
Well, I think there are two things there. An audit is not a result of breaking the law.
Yes or no? Simple question.
Well, no, it's not a simple question. It's
okay,
a two-part
then
question.
let me break it into two. Do you think they should?
If you're asking me,
please don't
should every
interrupt
taxpayer
me.
be audited?
Please answer that. I came here for answers. If you came here to waste time, I'm going to try to make sure you don't do that. Do you believe that people who lie on their tax returns should be audited?
Stop right here. Look at how the secretary squirms over a basic yes or no question. The Congresswoman sets up the most fundamental logic trap. Tax cheats must be audited. Bessent is forced to say yes, and the moment that yes slips out, the trap snaps shut.
Yes.
Okay, do you think that people who break our laws should be held accountable, our tax laws?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Very simple. Not a hard question. I'm glad we agree. So why is it that you are allowing President Trump to have complete immunity from being audited?
Again, I'm going to have to refer you to my previous statements. And
what was your previous statement, sir?
That I am unable to comment on any of the ongoing litigation.
And here's the dirtiest defense tactic in Washington, hiding behind ongoing litigation to refuse to answer. He thinks this phrase is an invincible shield, but he messed with the wrong person.
Okay, can you name the ongoing case concerning President Trump's immunity from audit?
Sorry?
Can you name?
There are three cases.
Can you name them, please?
That are out there now, and I will be happy to get back to you on those, because again, I am not a lawyer.
Okay.
We are represented by the DOJ.
A Treasury Secretary facing accusations of covering up tax crimes claims I am not a lawyer and passes the buck to the Department of Justice, DOJ. But the Congresswoman is a lawyer, and she didn't just read the law. She brought the actual court documents. Listen closely to this part, because this is the exact moment his shield shatters.
Hey, you said that you can't because there's ongoing litigation. You'll get me the name of the ongoing litigation, because the only ongoing litigation that I know of is surrounding the $1.8 million slush fund, which has already been suspended. The fact is that the judge's ruling in the litigation that references that slush fund only addresses the anti-weaponization fund. It doesn't even address Trump's immunity from audit. So I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the judge's order in the Floyd versus Department of Justice case.
Without objection.
Thank you. Now, Secretary, you said you're not an attorney. Is that correct?
Mercifully,
Okay. Well, I am, and I'm actually proud to be an attorney and know the laws, and I know how to read a judicial ruling. Furthermore, I know that since 1962, the Supreme Court has held that ongoing litigation does not prevent someone from testifying in a congressional hearing. So once again, I'm going to ask, why are you allowing President Trump and his family to have complete immunity from being audited?
That is the power of bringing the receipts. First, she exposes the very lawsuit Bessent is using as an excuse, Floyd versus DOJ. This is just a lawsuit over a $1.8 million slush fund, which has absolutely nothing to do with Trump's audit immunity. He lied. Second, she drops a 1,962 Supreme Court precedent, obliterating the I can't testify because of ongoing litigation excuse. Bessent's only escape route is officially sealed off.
again, since you're a lawyer, you will understand that the U.S. Treasury and the IRS are represented by the Justice Department and the Acting Attorney General.
Yes, but I just mentioned a Supreme Court case that doesn't bar you from testifying. It's pretty clear to me, though, however, that you're not interested in answering questions. You're interested in arguing. Let me ask you this question. If President Biden amended a prior tax return and claimed that he was owed $1 billion, do you think that that would be audited, or should it be audited?
I'm not going to talk about any
because you're not really here to answer questions. I don't understand why you wouldn't audit that, and I don't understand why you wouldn't do the same for President Trump. So the ruling, by the Justice Department,
do you have specific knowledge of an audit of President Trump?
Excuse me. It's my time. You're not here to ask me questions. I'm here to ask you questions, and hopefully you're here to try to answer some of them.
Rewind to that $1 billion. Joe Biden, hypothetical. If a former president demanded a $1 billion tax refund, the IRS would tear through every single receipt he ever owned. That's the law. But when your name is Donald Trump, the IRS just turns a blind eye. But the depth of this corruption doesn't stop there. Listen to this next question, which exposes just how far this nepotism has infiltrated the tax system.
I'm curious to know who counts as Trump's family for the purposes of this immunity. Is it his children, his in-laws, his grandchildren, his second or third cousin, his great-great-grandchildren? Do you know the answer to that question, Mr. Secretary?
Again, I imagine you have the Justice Department phone number. I would suggest you call them.
I'm not the one that runs the Department of the Treasury or that oversees what is happening with this immunity has been granted.
I'm not the one either. We follow the instructions of our lawyers, and we obey the law, Representative.
A shameful evasion. The Treasury Secretary tells a lawmaker to get the phone number and call the DOJ because he actively denies having control over his own department. I'm not the one either. The hearing enters its final moments. The Congresswoman doesn't need to ask any more questions. She uses her remaining seconds to deliver the most brutal truth, placing the elite's privilege on the same scale as the suffering of everyday Americans.
Proud of your performance today, Mr. Secretary, because I
hope you get some social media
I think it's pretty
clips.
safe to say that this is probably the most corrupt Treasury Department in our nation's history. And while you dance around questions to protect Trump, Americans are suffering in Trump's spiraling economy. Inflation is now rising faster than average hourly wages. Gas prices are at an all-time high with the war in Iran. The cost of groceries has risen 3.2% over the past years, and prices on most goods have gone up because of Trump's tariffs. So I don't see how you could call that anything other than a failure of the most corrupt Treasury Department in history.
Your time has expired, Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you. My time has expired.
Secretary, I would love for you to respond to the accusations at your department, because I think you were due the opportunity for that.
That was Bessent's last chance to use reason to defend his department's transparency. But when you have no legal backing, when all the evidence is stacked against you, the only remaining reaction is personal outrage.
The Congresswoman is slanderous. She has nothing but the unsubstantiated opinions, and I will not stand for that. There is nothing corrupt. We we move at the highest levels, and just because she cannot get the answer she wants, if she would like to give me facts, she seems long on facts, short on facts, long on hot air, and I will not stand for that. Yeah, that's great.
Mr. Arrington is recognized.
Disgrace to make a remark like that.
Slanderous, hot air, disgrace, big words can hide one simple truth. The Treasury Secretary was just legally annihilated on live television. No one can argue with facts. The fact is the 1,962 Supreme Court ruling. The fact is the $1.8 million slush fund. The fact is that inflation, gas prices, and grocery bills are hollowing out the wallets of the middle class, while one single family enjoys total immunity from the tax laws of the United States. What do you think about this confrontation? Is using the DOJ as a human shield for a single family's tax records proof of the most corrupt Treasury Department in history? As Representative Sanchez stated, drop your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time as we continue to expose the truth.